Let's notch just do this creative mode. World record, here I come. This has been the luckiest run ever.
People who cheat in their speedruns are hilarious because they're terrible at hiding the fact that they cheated. These are the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns. The speedrunner creates their world and everything is looking normal. World creation seems legitimate. They're selecting the first slot. They're looking ahead. But hang on a second. As soon as they start moving, they are using a timer, not a stopwatch. Buddy, that's not how speedruns work. So the speedrunner spawns in what seems like the middle of nowhere. I'm not sure why, but they run around this tree. A little suspicious, but let's just roll with it. Well, nothing looks different. So the speedrunner jumps into the ocean and they're swimming. And would you look at that, straight ahead is a village. How lucky is that? So the speedrunner enters this village and everything seems very normal. But hang on a second. This house on the right, the door is already open. Totally legit. Inside this house, the speedrunner opens up the chest and they do find items that I believe to be legitimate. Some snowballs, an ice block, some seeds, some bread, a potato. But the speedrunner only takes the blue ice, the bread, and they break the bed. Then the speedrunner puts the blue ice down in a very specific spot. Weird, but okay. They go in another house, opening the chest and only taking potatoes, 2 emeralds, and they break this bed. They go in another house, take more potatoes, take more beds, more potatoes, more bread, another one, another one, another one, another bed, more bread, another bed. Hang on a second. This village is the size of New York City. How many beds are there? I'm trying to figure out why this speedrunner has wasted 3 whole minutes just collecting potatoes, bread, and beds. What is this guy? Dwight Schrute? Bears beats Battlestar Galactica? Anyways, I don't know if I'm being paranoid now, but the speedrunner enters this house. They go inside to upgrade gear, and I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but the top left slot has nothing in it, and then all of a sudden there is an icon present. Again, I don't know if I'm overthinking this. I could just be paranoid, but nothing seems fake about this speedrun yet. This guy has 13 beds. And if you look back at one of my older videos called Beating Minecraft the Right Way, I'm pretty sure there's footage in there of me one-cycling the dragon with like 4 or 5 beds. You do not need 13 beds if you are speedrunning Minecraft. Just wait, it gets worse. Watch this next moment and tell me if you notice anything unusual about it. Rewind the video if you didn't notice it and try and take a better look. Yeah, that's right. If you look closely, there is a very sudden cut. The only indication is that the edges of the screen get slightly darker if I go frame by frame. Why, you might ask, there would be a sudden cut while this speedrunner is just collecting beds? Yeah, that's why. I think this guy is gonna make the American flag out of beds. Now again, watch these next few moments and tell me if you notice what's going on here. Yeah, that's right. If I go frame by frame, there is another very sudden cut. Going from the last frame to the next, they're selecting a different slot on their hotbar. You can also notice a big skip in their motion forward. Well, genuinely, nothing looks different here. So I do wonder if this speedrunner was making unnecessary cuts to throw us off of their trail. I don't know. Well, the speedrunner approaches a very inconspicuous blob of coal ore on the ground, and they begin putting beds down in a very particular manner on this coal ore. And it's really tough to say what happens here because as soon as the speedrunner turns around, there is just a lit nether portal right behind them. What in tarnation? The only thing I can imagine is that if I go frame by frame, there is a very sudden moment where they are selecting a different slot on their hotbar. What I think is going on here is that this speedrunner is kind of like a sleight of hand magician. They're just doing all sorts of wacky stuff in front of us so that we're not paying attention to the real cheating that's going on here. Well, the speedrunner does enter the nether, and unfortunately where they spawn in is not so good. There is literally nothing here. So I genuinely don't know what the speedrunner is gonna do next. Wait a second, what in the world are they doing? Yeah, hang on a second. Did you see what just happened there? If I go frame by frame, we can very clearly see the particles in the air suddenly being in completely different areas, as well as them selecting, again, another slot in their inventory. And when they turn around, the nether portal is gone, and it's replaced by a chest and an armor stand with full netherite armor. Oh, brother, way to be obvious. So the speedrunner takes their spoils of war and they equip their full netherite armor, opening the chest, finding basically everything you would need to speedrun Minecraft if you're bad at the game. This is so goofy. Then the speedrunner tosses their bread and potatoes into the lava pit like, you know what? I'm too good for you anyways. So the speedrunner begins digging out a hole to build the nether portal in. Even though that wastes tons of time, they could have just built the nether portal without digging out all of those blocks. But on the bright bright side, at least this guy knows what a rectangle looks like. So they use their fire charge to light the nether portal. And again, I'm just gonna assume you noticed what just happened here. Yeah, going frame by frame, the golden apples are gone and they suddenly have a water bucket. This guy literally has to cheat because he's not good at cheating. Just let that sink in. Well, the speedrunner walks around and they approach a very specific block and they begin breaking it, only to reveal a very, very long hole with water at the bottom of it. And would you look at that, it's the stronghold. And I have to point out how goofy it is that the speedrunner got an advancement for Monster Hunter, but they never got an advancement for, oh, I don't know, finding the stronghold, which essentially means 5 minutes into the speedrun, and that is the first time this player killed a mob. That is just sad. As if this couldn't get any worse, the speedrunner then begins to fill the portal with eyes in the most obscure way possible. 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 8, 7, 10, 9, 11, 12. Oh my goodness. Do you not know how to count in order? Well, the speedrunner is in the end now, and they actually did get an advancement for that, which is good news. They tried a water bucket clutch onto the end island, and they failed doing so. But the speedrunner just never picks up their water again. Buddy, you made a whole elaborate series of cuts just to give yourself that water bucket. And for what? To fail the water bucket clutch? But here's the thing, they actually turn around as if like, oh, I need my water. And then they change their mind again, forgetting that they just put a block on the water source, getting rid of it. Well, when in the end, the speedrunner attempts shooting 2 of the end crystals with their bow and arrow, missing both of them. And then they suddenly start building this structure and digging down. Wait, hang on a second, what's going on here? Yeah, if I go frame by frame, the speedrunner suddenly has 31 more experience points, 2 less cooked chickens, 3 less golden apples, and a partridge in a pear tree. Yeah, who am I kidding? The Ender Dragon's health bar is gone. When the speedrunner digs up to the surface, there is just a pool of bath water hanging out on the end island. What is that? The Ender Dragon's jacuzzi? I don't know. And what really happened here? I don't know if we'll ever find out. Wait, yes, we will find out. Before the speedrunner enters the end game portal, they look up, and what in tarnation happened up there? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Buddy really built the transcontinental railroad on the top of the end island. And yes, just like that, the speedrunner beat the game in, I guess 7 minutes and 12 seconds. But if you factor in all the cuts and all the lost footage, it was probably about 3 hours. This speedrun, oh brother, you are in for a treat. Their Minecraft skin is a sheep with sunglasses and a businessman suit. Who is this, Jay Schlatt playing? Their timer is literally humongous. It is a monstrosity on the screen. And they have a stick. This is very promising. Right off the bat, the speedrunner goes up to a tree, they break it, getting 1 oak log, then they make a crafting table and they put it down. But as soon as they put that crafting table down, it says set on game mode to survival. And when they turn around, there's just 256 oak logs hanging out behind them. How convenient. So the speedrunner makes a wooden pickaxe and a wooden sword, and now they're just in creative mode, literally floating around. And then if I go frame by frame, their timer just jumps up by 15 seconds for no particular reason. And then directly after that, there is a sudden cut where they're just in front of a village. So what I think they were doing is that their timer is actually a video that they're cutting, but they just didn't make the cuts at the same time. I don't know. So the speedrunner suddenly puts themselves back into survival mode after by accident taking 2 screenshots. Then they go into this villager house. And of course, there is another cut. Guys, I know this speedrun is fake, but the end of it is just so ridiculous I had to show it to you. Yeah, in the chest, there's full netherite armor, full netherite tools, whoop-de-doo-dah. The speedrunner is then just in spectator mode. Oh my goodness, do you have no shame? They put themselves into survival mode, then they're in creative mode, and then yeah, the speedrunner says they found this really cool glitch where you're able to find nether portals instantly.
But I found this really cool glitch. It allows you to basically find nether portals like almost instantly.
That is followed by a very sudden cut where they just built a nether portal in front of them and lit it. Yeah, what a cool glitch, buddy. So the speedrunner is now in the nether, at which point the speedrunner begins typing a /locate command, followed by another sudden cut. The chat log says that they were teleported to these coordinates. They're in front of a nether fortress now, but honestly, this speedrunner's video recording software is so bad, it is so dark you cannot see a single thing. In a nutshell, the speedrunner whacks at 2 blaze rods in creative mode. There's another cut, and then they just drop a bunch of blaze rods in creative mode. I mean, this is just so shamelessly fake. But wait until you see the end. The speedrunner uses a /give command to give themselves Eyes of Ender. The speedrunner is still in creative mode. They are building a nether portal. This guy does not understand what a rectangle is, like many other fake speedrunners. Buddy, that is a square. When the speedrunner returns to the overworld, they find themselves in the same forest that Herobrine might inhabit. What in tarnation? This speedrunner is 5 minutes into their run, and a professional speedrunner would have probably beaten the game by now. But this goofy goober is locating the stronghold with commands and teleporting themselves to it. They are in spectator mode, and they are still unable to find the portal room. This is just so hilarious. So they fill the portal with eyes. I am honestly not surprised that they haven't died in creative mode yet. This guy would probably find a way to do that. Well, when in the end, the speedrunner has the F3 screen plastered all over their video, on top of their monstrosity of a timer, and underneath all of that garbage, you can see a lot of TNT. Yeah, this goober spawned in 22,000 blocks of TNT, nearly crashing their computer, and they still did not kill the Ender Dragon. And yeah, just like that, the speedrunner beat the game in a world record. Well, hang on a second. Their timer stopped at 9 minutes and 12 seconds, but they did not enter the portal yet. Then their game freezes, and you can hear the speedrunner say this.
Wait, what's going on?
Yeah, there is a flash of light. The speedrunner's timer is gone, and they have been brought to the dark dimension to face off with Dormammu. I don't know what is happening here. Nope, never mind. That's not Dormammu. That is the speedrun master. And this terrifying entity decides whether or not speedruns are legitimate. Yeah, well, the speedrun master deemed this speedrun fake, and I guess the speedrunner will not be able to escape their fate, which is being banished to eternal torture. Yeah, the speedrunner literally wakes up in a prison cell with skull and bones, and when they turn around, it's just a video of a cat bobbing his head back and forth. I guess if you don't like cats, that's considered torture? I don't know. Anyways, I just thought this one was ridiculously goofy, so I wanted to show it to you. This speedrunner spawns in the middle of a forest with a lava pool next to him. Holy cow. And would you look at that, they turn around and there's a village in front of them. Very, very lucky. So the speedrunner breaks the window of a villager house, jumping in, opening a chest, and finding very, very good loot. But before they can even take all of the loot, they get punched out of the window by a villager. So after being caught red-handed, the speedrunner resorts to breaking a tree. They make a crafting table, using their iron ingots to make an iron bucket, and they collect some water with it. Then, with just so much skill, the speedrunner begins crafting a nether portal. They break some gravel and get a flint, and just like that, they light their nether portal and enter the nether. And this speedrunner is very, very lucky. They spawn into the nether right outside of a fortress. The speedrunner starts bridging over to a blaze spawner until a ghast shoots a fireball at them. The speedrunner panics, and they get knocked off of their bridge. But it's okay, not all is lost. The speedrunner is still alive. Yep, nope, never mind. He is dead. He is out like a light. The speedrunner wakes up in the overworld right next to the great Master Oogway, at which point Master Oogway says something very, very inspirational. Noodles. Nah, I'm just kidding. He actually says some very inspirational things. At which point we realize it was just the speedrunner up in his own head, having some flashbacks, and he gets up and dusts off the dust, and the speedrunner picks himself back up. Suddenly, the speedrunner taps into his training from Master Oogway, and he harnesses the power of the ghast to destroy all of the Endermen and destroy the ghasts. The speedrunner picks up those Ender Pearls, and then they start climbing up the Nether Fortress, literally performing kung fu on these blazes. So after getting as many blaze rods as the speedrunner needs, they craft Eyes of Ender. And now that they're in the overworld, they locate the stronghold, entering the portal room and filling the portal with eyes. But hang on a second, why does the speedrunner only have cookies and rockets? Yeah, the speedrunner just launches themselves all over the end, breaking all of the end crystals until their rockets run out and they are forced to do a water bucket clutch, at which point you will not believe what the speedrunner does to destroy the Ender Dragon. It is amazing. Skadoosh. And yeah, just like that, the speedrunner beat Minecraft in a world record 3 minutes and 8 seconds. I cannot believe it. This speedrun starts off, and I already have anxiety about it. There's a ton of stuff going on the bottom right of the screen. Bats screeching, slime squishing. They just put themselves into survival mode. I'm sorry, but how many villagers are just trapped in that well ahead of them? On top of all of that, what in tarnation is that floating in the sky? I have so many questions, and don't worry, they're all gonna be answered. answer. Well, the speedrunner enters this blacksmith house, and they get 2 diamonds, an iron chest plate, and an iron sword. The speedrunner stops to type in the chat box, "Wow, so rare." Nope, never mind, they correct it, rare. But then they delete it again and misspell it on the 3rd try. What in tarnation? They open up another chest, and they get some saplings, some bread, a saddle, some obsidian. Very rare indeed. Things just continue to get worse. In front of them is the most goofy looking ruined nether portal I have ever seen. Right next to just an end portal hanging out in front of them. Yeah, it's just sitting there. At which point the speedrunner starts typing in chat, "OMG, 1 in 100 million." They open up the ruined nether portal chest, finding a golden sword with looting 255 and 16 ender pearls. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest, I have been so distracted by all of this goofiness that I just realized, is this a super flat world? Well, as soon as the speedrunner enters the nether, they are in the middle of a lava lake, but right next to them is a blaze spawn. And the speedrunner points this out by typing, "The spawner glitched." Buddy, how in the world does a glitch explain this? Well, yeah, the speedrunner attempts fighting these blaze while their game is running at a solid 3 frames per second, at which point they just die, respawning underneath. I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. The speedrunner goes into creative mode, and now I realize, did they spawn a deep dark city above ground? I am so confused. Yep, that is in fact a deep dark city. And after about 30 seconds of being in creative mode, they finally type in chat, "OMG, I just got given creative mode by Notch." They're back in the nether, collecting all of the items they dropped when they died, and their game is back at a solid 3 frames per second. This goofy goober is wasting so much time typing a /give command to get a golden sword with the enchantment Etet. I have no idea what Etet is. Someone help me out here. I am losing my mind. The speedrunner starts typing, "What? Why did it work?" And then they give themselves 64 blaze rods and full netherite armor. OMG, Notch just gave me netherite. Buddy, you know we can see you in creative mode, right? The speedrunner starts typing in chat, "The pearls," in all caps. Then they just give themselves pearls in creative mode, putting themselves back into survival mode. They craft blaze powder, they craft eyes of ender, and they fill this portal and enter the end. So the real question is, there is like 5 more minutes left of the speedrun. This guy is cheating out of the wazoo. How does it take him 5 minutes to beat the game? Well, I'll tell you, the speedrunner starts typing, "Aha, there it is," followed by them giving themselves an elytra and 64 rockets and 64 enchanted golden apples. What is this ridiculously blatant cheating? Yeah, and just like that, the speedrunner beat the game. Listen, I know this one is so clearly fake. It was just ridiculously goofy.